All right, hi everyone. Found another manuscript that may be of interest, and of course, I will link to this in the video description. This is an album with no date, and let's take a look at the catalog description. Off screen here. Bodleian Oriental 430. Album of Ottoman people and monuments. And according to the cataloger, this is probably from a European, which seems to check out based on the art style, or maybe someone with some European training like an Ottoman could also be possible. And the earliest catalog description, is from catalogers going back to the late 19th, early 20th century, which is unsurprising. But that may be boring, but it's good to know where the information comes from. But here we have a spahi. Now there's no date on this. So it's hard to say when it was created. But here we have a spahi. It's got kind of a green-brown tunic or kaftan, and he's got the overcoat. I forget what that is called, the proper name of that, but he's got that swept back shield, red cap, and the lance is decorated. And it seems like this was painted in Constantinople, Istanbul, because here we have, let's see, this is the, I think I'll go ahead and just do the image. Yeah, there we go. I actually don't know Latin, and all the descriptions are in Latin, so I can kind of pick my way through this, but it would actually be easier for me if this was in Ottoman or Persian or something, but whatever. Anyway, that's a mosque, but let's go back a bit to look at, because I like to go through these to show you all like the different colors and that sort of thing that Ottomans, would have worn to help paint miniatures. So here we have Sultan Amurath, could be Murad III, from the late 16th century, not sure though. But he's wearing like a yellow gold kind of color. Obviously the Sultan would wear something very ornate. Here we have a couple mounted figures. I'm not sure what the Latin is supposed to say. Tahrir tahter vicius Jafar cum equitando ad sum templum. Anyway, but here we've got a mounted figure wearing a gray. He's got an attendant there carrying his bow, or maybe that's the Sultan, one of his guards, unclear. He's wearing white and like a fur kind of, or like a tall cap, so it's interesting. We have another mounted figure, probably a notable. Doesn't look like the Sultan, but It's got green with red and golden embroidery. And this is one thing in my own miniature painting that I need to keep in mind, is that a lot of the horse bridles and accoutrements were, painted bright colors. His saddle blanket is painted with a pattern. So. And this is being eaten by worms, so that's what the holes are. Just a little bit of trivia. Oh, well, something in Ungaria. Well, I know what that means, but anyway, it's got like a pink tunic and green robe, green, and then the horse reins are also golden, so it's interesting. Tarım Contra Osman Pasha. Anyway, he's wearing like a red, pink, and blue, deep blue. Couple other functionaries in reds. So you can kind of see some consistent colors in these across all of the different Ottoman manuscripts I've looked at on this channel. A lot of reds, blues, greens, and very bright red or deep blue. But we can also kind of see some class or rank differences. Obviously the Sultan's garb and these notable kind of Pasha's garbs or clothing is a little more patterned and ornate compared to like these guys. One trouble with some of these European texts is they really garble the names and make them more complicated than they need to be. What Vashov? I mean, that's probably supposed to be Pasha, maybe. Ochuli. Anyway, but he's got a green and a nice pattern on his kaftan beneath. Do have some boats in this album, which are interesting. I'm not going to look at those in detail, but if you want to page through this on your own, the boats might be of note to you. Here we have another character wearing a pink. So I guess they would have worn pink based on this, because I'm assuming this was probably drawn from life by a traveler to Istanbul. So he's got pink and blue. Looks like maybe there was a pattern that was painted on here, but the paint, I guess, has maybe fallen away over the centuries. Another example, this is a black eunuch that would have worked in the palace, and he's wearing a nice gold and maybe pink kind of kaftan, and then he's got a blue overcoat. They were quite powerful, the black eunuchs, in their way. There's a lot of literature, scholarship on them. Then we have a white eunuch here with red and kind of purple. So interesting array of colors, but once again, there are some consistent ones that they used a lot. There looks like another kind of more senior officer of state. And he's got a very nice pattern and neat. Doesn't seem to be wearing shoes, so maybe this was drawn when he was praying in the mosque or something. And also with the hair color, he's got red hair, because a lot of these Ottoman, officials would have been of South Slavic ancestry or kind of mixed ancestry. So as far as like the skin tones go, the Spahi I've looked at the beginning, very nice, plain, but looks like he's probably serious about being a Spahi. And a bunch of these are architectural. Not going to stay too long on these, but they are nice to look at. And we have another person. We've got another Pasha, but he has a very neat pattern. Once again, it's kind of like light brown hair, fair skin, red and blue with like a pattern, quite expensive seeming. Another to adjust this so it's visible to you all. Another military figure. I'm trying to zoom in to see if the description gives a clue, but I'm not sure. But anyway, I might be probably one of the Sultan's guards that carried a bow. As you can see, deep red and blue. So quite nice. Another Pasha or some other kind of grandee. Well, this is a Janissary officer, I think, so. Yeah, I think that's Yanishar something. But yeah, that's a Janissary cap, and he's got a nice green and red kind of attire. This is another palace official because he's got this conical cap on, but we can see more details on the clothing. Under his kaftan is like blue, and he's got it kind of drawn up and tucked in under his belt. And again, we've got red, yellow, and deep blue. And what leads me to believe that these colors are fairly accurate is, doesn't seem like the artist didn't have the colors that he needed to depict certain other things, because we've got, some of those, I don't like to call them costumes, but some of the clothing that we saw earlier, was pretty depicted as in its kind of with all of its patterns. So. And, compared to some of the Ottoman paintings, which I think are extremely valuable and often kind of looked down on even by people that study Ottoman art, but these travelers' depictions are pretty valuable, especially this one, because the painter was kind of more attentive to realism, which can be useful. Whereas the Ottoman paintings tend to be more stylized, but I don't think that means that they're fanciful, in the sense that they're unreliable, because obviously those artists would have been seeing that stuff, that the Ottoman artists would have been seeing that stuff every day, especially if they were in the palace. But anyway, looks like another Janissary or something. Anyway, but he's got red and nice pattern. He's got the kind of Janissary type cap. could be a Siladar, the Sultan's sword bearers. Got another Ottoman official or some kind of palace functionary with blue and kind of a red. Here's an interesting one. Well, I'm not sure if there are any Latinists in the audience. Please let me know. And I'm idiomata olak solak, probably a solak, a guard, but it's got blue. It's got a mace and a curved sword, red trousers. So that's interesting. Here we go. Musketeer of some sort. And he's got not many accoutrements, though. He's got a powder horn. Probably he's got a bullet bag, or would have one. He's wearing like a green coat, the white breeches, blue stockings, and red shoes. But there's his weapon. Obviously, the weapon's not painted super well, but anyway, he's got this cap on. Idiom. I don't even know what they're trying to render with this. Senoli. Anyway, Sekbon maybe, but that seems like a stretch. Their military figure. Hisselbosch. Okay, so this is probably, this is depicting a Safavid, so the enemy of the Ottomans at this, for 16th century and most of the 17th century. So this is from a Safavid warrior from Iran, and Kizilbash means redhead because they had this red cap in their turban. He's wearing a red tunic. He's got a scimitar, curved sword. He's carrying his bow and arrows because they were typically mounted warriors. So that's interesting that the artist included this. Let's see what else. I'm trying to focus mostly on like more military type figures, but I also wanted to show like the kind of the eunuchs and stuff. Well, here's a woman, I think. Yeah, a woman, and here you can see her face is covered mostly, and she's wearing like a black kind of overcoat. But you can see they did have black clothing for some people, but she's got a red sort of thing underneath, red tunic or kaftan on underneath the overcoat. Woman going out. So that's interesting. This album has some women in it, Muslim women, because of that their faces they're covered, and presumably this artist was working in public, so that's not always in these albums. But this artist included some women, but you can still get an idea of the colors. You've got probably her household eunuch here, blue and red. She's got green and kind of a red, scarlet kind of thing. Or not quite scarlet, but purple red. More women. But again, useful to get an idea for the color. We have a little, either a boy or a girl, wearing a very nice patterned kaftan there. Let's see. Well, I think think in this album, that's about it for military figures. If you want to take a look at it in the link, go ahead. But we've got a Qadi, so this would be a judge. Leshker. Okay, I think I know what they're saying. This will be a military judge. I think that's what this is supposed to be. Leshker Qadi. Leshker is soldier. Qadi is an Islamic judge, so they included that. But I think that's about it for military figures in this album. Yeah, so that's about it for the military figures that I was able to see. If you like this, please check out the full manuscript. I think this is really helpful for painting, and this is all digitized. Unfortunately, the manuscript, especially the early pages, have some bookworm damage, but that's fine. It happens. And I also don't want to make this overly long. This is already at 20 minutes of me just talking over these images. So, yeah, check it out. Maybe this is helpful for painting your Ottoman army. And thanks for watching, and talk to you all in the next video.